Hello, so the Nerf bars have come in and I just went and picked them up and brought them back here and I'm all set up to do the install. It's for the price of these things, it's not really as much stuff as you would think. They're pretty small actually. I was able to fit them in my monstrous Walmart top case with no problem. So anyhow, I'm just verifying that all the parts are here, all the nuts and bolts, and then we'll get started with the install and see how it goes. Looks like we're going to have to take the fairings off, radiator shrouds. So we'll start with that and start putting this together. So we're going to start here by removing the radiator shrouds here. Alright, let's take the other side off. Alright, so now that we got the radiator shrouds off, step 2 is the highway peg installation. We're done with that. Check. That includes removing the front engine mount triangles and securing the highway peg cross member to the engine and frame. We did that in the highway peg installation video, so reference that if you have questions on that. So it says to remove the 4 bolts that are holding the front fender on and let it rest on the tire. Those are just right under here. So now that we got the radiator shrouds off, we're going to put the side Nerf bars on here. And we're installing them onto, let me make sure I'm in frame. Yeah, we're installing them onto the stud here that's on the highway pegs. So then we're going to use these longer, the biggest bolt that comes with the hardware set. It's the 8mm. We're going to put that all the way through. And then we'll do the same with this one on the other side. Okay. Okay, now we can install the front bracket, the U-shaped bracket, and this is going to connect to the Nerf bars right here on the curved part that comes around right here. Alright, so let me back up just a second here. These instructions make a lot of assumptions, and to be honest, they're not very great instructions. So, but anyway, we'll figure it out. These washers here, we need one of these on either side of this long 8mm bolt that's holding the side Nerf bar on. So I'm taking those back out and putting a washer on each side, and then we're using this locking nut here on the other end, which is going to go on through here. Alright, so the U-shaped, it doesn't tell you which bolts to use on this U-shaped front piece. So I put the longer one in there and it's just way too long, so I'm going to take this off and put the shorter one on here. I think the longer ones are meant for the cross brace pieces that connect to here, to this back side. So take this one off here. So there's two different kinds of bolts here. There's the short one and the long one. So the shorter one, I do believe, since it doesn't specify, is for the front here. Alright, and then we'll do the same to the other side. There's these pieces that are going to connect to, there's a tab hanging off of the front U-shaped bracket, and these are going to connect that tab to the frame in the front using these longer bolts here. So we'll put these on now and secure it to the frame. Alright, so let me see if I can explain what we have here. We've got the those pieces that I just showed you are around the frame, and the long 6mm bolts, that's the thinner ones, the long thinner ones, are going all the way through each one of those pieces. I'm totally out of frame here, I'm sorry. So here it is. This is going through the tab that's off the U-shaped Nerf bar piece, the front bracket they call it, and then these two bolts here, the ones I was just talking about, the long 6mm bolts, are going through that, through the pieces that I just showed you that go around the frame, and the bigger piece is in the back of the frame. Yeah, see, so there's the back of the frame, and you can kind of see the bolt coming through, and then it attaches to, really sorry, I'm trying to do a good job here of this so you can see everything. It attaches to these two cross braces that go, there's one arm that goes from here. This one has threads in it, and that's what the long 6mm bolts thread into, and they just go through the cross brace on the other side here. So this one, this is on the right side of the bike. This cross member is basically touching the piece that's on the frame, that snugs around the frame, and then this other cross member is behind it, and it has it's threaded. This cross member here is threaded, and so those long 6mm bolts thread into this eventually. So it's kind of going through a bunch of pieces there, and hopefully that is somewhat helpful, because the yeah, and then these where these cross members connect to the Nerf bars out here on the outside, those are just temporarily connected. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to undo these, because I've tightened up the center that is around the frame. That's all snug around the frame. It's not super tight, but it's snug around the frame. So that's kind of a conglomerate of pieces. So once that's in place, we should be able to dirt bike. And we should be able to take this off, and this will fold down, and then we can get our radiator shrouds back on. So let me get this folded down and I'll show you, give you some more camera angles here. Alright, so now you can see that the Nerf bars is folded down here, and now we can get the shrouds back on and bolt those in place. So I'm going to do the same on this side and fold that Nerf bar down, and we'll get the shrouds back on here. I hate putting this broken shroud back on, but it's what I got for now, so it is what it is. So I'm just sliding the shroud right over this cross brace here. And we'll put the bolt in loosely. Alright, so radiator shrouds are on. Cross members are hanging out here. Nerf bars are still flopping down, so all we should have to do is lift these up and tighten everything down, and that'll be it. I really like the way this is set up, actually, because when I do get my replacement shroud, I can just drop these down and take that broken one off, pop a new one on, and then it's just 2 bolts. So I really like that, the way that that's designed. That's nice. So we'll go ahead and fold these Nerf bars up and tighten everything down and see how she looks. One more thing I should mention, actually, is that there's these neoprene washers. These neoprene washers here, and on the front you're supposed to put one in between these 2 tabs so that you don't have steel on steel. And then you're also supposed to put one on the back. Once you have the bolt pushed through, put one on the back, and then add a washer, a steel washer over that, and then the nut. And then where this connects with the cross member here, we're going to put 3 of these neoprene washers in between the tab and the cross member. And a steel washer and a locking nut. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So there they are, final install. I think I was able to overcome the instructions pretty well and kind of figure things out. So it may have just been me with the instructions. They seemed a little bit like they made some assumptions, but that's okay. We got them on. I'm going to be honest, this was the hardest component to get on here compared to the highway pegs and the skid plate. Skid plate being the easiest, highway pegs being a distant second. These were, unfortunately, this Nerf bar over here on this side was twisted a little bit, and it made this connection up here extremely difficult to get on. So, but I was able to get it on eventually. Just kind of had to loosen some things up, you know, to the max, basically, to where it was as loose as I could get it, to where I could get that together. If you had a third hand, that might help too. But anyway, they're on, and they're on there super tight, and I think they look great. And I've seen some videos of these going down and on rocks, and they seemed to protect everything just fine. So so that's it. That's it for this video. If this was helpful to you, click the like, leave a comment if you have any questions, subscribe if you're new. God bless, and we'll see you next time.